Welcome back to Blow Up the Team. I'm Matt. Once again, we're doing some MLB preseason grades. Today, we find ourselves in lovely Boston with the Boston Red Sox. As a Yankee fan, I despise the Red Sox and their entire organization, but I have to spend quite a bit of time at Fenway if I ever want to go see games when I'm up, at college where I am, because I go to college in New Hampshire. I'm surrounded by nothing but Red Sox fans, so it's an experience being one of the few Yankee fans in the Northeast. Um, Let's talk about the 2019 Red Sox. 2018, to start off, just because you have to go back, they won the World Series convincingly. That team just dominated the whole regular season and the 108 wins, and they finally got over the hurdle that they had been stuck at. They got past the ALDS, they got past the ALCS, and they dominated the World Series. They lost 3 times heading into throughout the entire postseason. Um, Everyone had career years: Mookie Betts, Xander Bogaerts, JD Martinez. And then in the postseason, unlikely heroes like Jackie Bradley and Mitch Moreland, and they carried that team. So, and Steve Pearce. I forgot about Steve Pearce. World Series MVP, Steve Pearce. I will say the funniest thing that came out of that, because Steve Pearce just absolutely lit up the Dodgers at home, that when you looked up Steve Pearce after the World Series win for a little while, it used to say owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers and mayor of Los Angeles, which I always thought was pretty funny. But anyway, 2019 comes along, and oh my God, the bats turned to concrete. The pitching was serving up sliders like they were fucking chefs. They just threw slider after slider, meatball after meatball for people to hit out. They got off to a ridiculously bad start. Um, it is oh god, it was a couple wins and like 11 like double digit losses almost by the time they got to their first to the homestand, and then they had a horrible homestand. I watched their home opener. It was a miserable conditions. Chris Sale's pitching, and just Lourdes Gurriel Jr. just has a straight steal at home, gives up a bunch of runs, and that was the beginning of the nightmare. Chris Sale just never showed his usual form. He'd strike out 10 batters, but also in like 5 innings, but also give up like 5 runs. And just top to bottom, the team was just terrible. Couple bright spots in the fact Xander Bogaerts continues to be an amazing player, and Mookie Betts you got to watch in his last season in Boston. Rafael Devers really showed that no, I am this team's future third baseman. I am an offensive force to be reckoned with. And you had some bright spots with a glimmer from Michael Chavis, though it did fade pretty fast. And Jackie Bradley Jr. is just an impossibly good defensive center fielder. But the pit, even though the offense showed up after a while, the pitching never recovered. Nathan Eovaldi, who was a World Series, a postseason uh, hero for the Red Sox, just couldn't stay healthy. Got injured, pitched like crap when he got back, uh, and it's looking rough. And in the 2019 offseason, it comes out that the Red Sox have been cheating through the entirety of the 2018 regular season. Now, unlike the Astros, it wasn't as blatant, and it wasn't for every single whenever they wanted to. Their system was basically it was only worked when a runner was on second and occasionally on first, and they couldn't do it at all during the postseason. So it wasn't as widespread as the Astros cheating. It wasn't as you didn't have as much. I guess you could. I think it's fairly plausible to say it couldn't have had as much of an impact. And though I imagine there was some, and I think that could also explain why Mookie Betts couldn't perform that entire postseason. And JD Martinez had like one big home run, but that was all he did. And so that I think there are that helps explain some things that happened in that postseason better. But overall, the team, it wasn't as. It's not like they're hitting 100 on the road and then batting 350 at home like the Astros were. So with the disgustingly horrible weak punishment the Astros got, Red Sox lost like a draft pick. Their replay uh, person was fired. Overall, minor stuff, and it got to say it definitely sullies a little bit, but it's not as horrible. as much as the Yankee fan I am, and I want to say, haha, it's bad organization. I mean, it's a shitty move, and Alex Cora was already going to lose his job over Houston, and probably not, have a wrong road back to the majors. I would be amazed if he ever got a job managing another major league team, and so he sunk his career. It's entirely self sabotage. He knew in both cases and did nothing. He designed the first one. I wouldn't be surprised he designed the Red Sox as well. But enough about that because we're beating a dead horse at this point. So yeah, the 2019 Red Sox were a travesty, and 2020 is looking not so great. Chris Sale, Tommy John, you're not getting in this season, even though it's starting so many months late. Pitchers get Tommy John, you don't see him for a year, and you're not seeing him till next year. So your rotation's a mess. The bullpen, with the exception of one arm, is a mess, and the lineup is good, but definitely not at its full strength. Because you lost Mookie Betts, and that's just such a huge part of this team. And you replaced it with Alex Verdugo, which we'll talk about. So up first, you got Andrew Benintendi. Benintendi has been, a really, really great player for his entire career thus far. He's shown a lot. His numbers went down quite a bit last year compared to hitting in the 290s, 270s, depending on his previous three previous seasons. But I think it's easily explainable by the fact that the Boston tried to move Mookie into the second hole and get Benintendi into a leadoff spot for some dumb reason. I mean, I guess it kind of made sense, but he was walking less, he was hitting less, he was basically a useless bat in the lineup for a month's worth of games, and so he definitely improved quite a bit after getting back into his usual groove as a second hole. I don't know why, hitting leadoff made him so bad at the plate, but that's just how it was. Um, but overall, great center field or great outfielder. Um, One of the better outfielders in the league. Decent bat. Great fielding skills. His fielding skills are definitely excellent. If you have him hitting in leadoff, maybe hopefully he can show improvement from his leadoff hitting, because that could be a big problem if he can't hit leadoff. Um, but overall, good way to start. Second hole, you have Rafael Devers, absolute monster offensive season last year. 115 RBIs, 32 home runs, 311 average, 900 OPS. It feels like every time the Red Sox needed a ever drove a run in, it was almost always Devers. He walked a little bit more and struck out a tiny bit less. The big problem for Devers is his fielding. It's atrocious. I will say, I think he gets a lot. He's got a similar problem that Andahar. He just double clutches, or he's got such a powerful arm that he'll just whip it. I went to the Yankee game I went to at Fenway. I will say, I think he got screwed on the errors because one was a tough play to make, and the other one was just like, it was just a hard, it wasn't like horrible errors. So, but overall, 2019 was still an improvement from 2018 defensively, and so if he can continue to hone that more, I think that'd be a big help to this team. But it's not like, you know, It's not like his defense will sink you in most cases. So, uh, anyway, going up next, you have Xander Bogaerts. Really premier shortstop in the league. I think easily top five shortstops in the league. He's got the bat, he's got the fielding, he's got everything you want in a solid, well-rounded player. He had a monster season for himself last year. 2018 was he always had good years, but then he moved up in the lineup in 2018 and performed really well. 100 RBIs, 23 home runs, and then he hit 10 more home runs, hitting 33 this year. 117 RBIs. He put highs in every offensive category and walked more and played 20 more games, got 100 more at bats. So he's got he's there. And you also signed him to a 6-year extension, and this was huge for a team. He's going to be there. You have him locked up for the next. I think 2019 counted. I don't know if 2019 counted or if the 6-year extension starts now. Regardless, you have him for the next 5 to 6 years, and he'll be exciting to watch in every one of them. He's absolutely a, and you have a guy in Bogarts who you can build a team around, and that's really important because he's also extremely young. He's only 27, or not extremely young, but he's very young. You got JD Martinez. He's the DH. Is DH. He played like a like 2 games of right field last year, and in one of those games he groped a fan on accident, trying to field the ball, which is kind of hilarious. But also not the best look for your fielding. Um, John Boy has a great breakdown of that. Um, he's just, despite his defensive woes, his offense is amazing. Definitely took a step back. Not, he went from 43 homes to 36, but overall his approach and his just overall game is really good. Even though his numbers overall were down a little bit, they weren't like shockingly down that like he was suddenly bad. Like he still hit over 300, still hit 35 plus 36 home runs, over 100 RBIs. So I think you can expect more of the same from him, though he is only getting older. So you definitely want to see. Um, so you got to appreciate him at his best while you have him at his best, because you don't know how long it's going to be. Next, you have Mitch Moreland at first base. Mitch Moreland, really, in those early games the Red Sox had, he carried that team like just double after double after double. He hasn't hit a lot of home runs, but he hits loads of doubles. He got injured and then only came back hitting 250s. He hits the 250s, mid 200s, like that. That's just how he hits. When he hits lots of doubles, and so you'll have a good OPS. You'll put and that a decent home run total. Um, Overall, I like. Well, I think Mitch Moreland has a pretty decent game, and I think he's. I know talking from Red Sox fans, at least the Red Sox fans on my campus, he's a fan favorite. So that's good guy to have. Next up, you got Michael Chavis. He had his rookie season last year. Started off as an absolute monster, just home run after home run after home run after home run. Definitely cooled off a whole lot after. The big thing for in this league is you see high velocity fastballs up in the zone a lot, or just in general fastballs up. He cannot hit high fastballs. His batting average drops immensely versus high fastballs, but he can annihilate breaking balls. And so he's got, like, for most pitchers, most players, hit off the fastball and struggle with the breaking ball. So having a guy who can do really well with the breaking ball is obviously going to be very helpful, but he's got to learn to hit that because he's pitchers know it's not a secret anymore that he can't hit a high fastball. So honestly, I think most of his 254 average last season was because of the fact he got off to such a ridiculously hot start. And not to mention, he only walked 31 times to 127 strikeouts and only 347 at bats. So there's obvious holes in his game, but he's show like he's got some skills in there that show a whole lot of promise. Because like I said, being able to hit breaking balls and so well, and so like he has elite breaking ball hitting skills. It's just a question of can he get that fastball hitting to where it needs to be. You got Christian Vasquez behind the plate, one of the better offensive catchers, and he'll also switch off at first base every once in a while when you need him. He played 138 games last year because of that. He's been switching off duties to Sandy Leone, and then last year was an offensive breakout. He'd shown some bat skills, like hitting 290 in 2017, but overall, like his other seasons, 207, 227, 240, never hitting above 5 home runs. Last season, with more playing time, hit 70 or had 72 RBIs, 23 home runs, hit 276. Um, doesn't walk a whole bunch, but was still better walk rate than Michael Chavis. But he showed he's got some pretty high quality offense behind there and a really good arm as well. So definitely really great catcher to have. Next up, you got Jackie Bradley. The you can add him to a long list of great defensive center fielders with horrible, horrible bats. He's got when he connects, he has some decent power. He hit 21 home runs last year, but really, his hitting is pretty atrocious at times. He'll light up for a couple series. Because like in the he won the ALCS MVP because he just hit a bunch of home runs and hit a bunch, but then he didn't do anything after that. And then in the regular season he started off like hitting 100, like just about 100, and then would take off, hit 300 for a couple series, and then taper off and hit 150 again. So very very streaky hitter, and but he will also save multiple games by robbing home runs and diving catches, and just and cutting down runners. Like he's a wizard in the outfield, and his Gold Gloves definitely show it. Um, Now this has Kevin Pillar as your starting third outfielder. I think it's going to end up being Alex Verdugo, with Kevin Pillar being kind of the rotational guy who can play anywhere. Pillar, once again, case of not a great bat, awesome glove. Alex Verdugo has a pretty good bat. He's got, last year was his real first full year, and my roommate and I were talking about it. He for the entire year he knew Mookie wasn't going to be sticking with the Red Sox, and so he was hoping that Verdugo. He says they shouldn't trade him for anything less than Verdugo and a bunch of prospects, and that's what the Red Sox got. They got Verdugo and a bunch of prospects. Um, in limited action last year and only 343 at bats, he hit 294, 12 home runs, so some decent power there, and profiles out pretty well as a hitter, and so definitely the reason why he's not projected to be in the starter because is during spring training he got a stress fracture in his back, but he should be healthy now, and so I would expect to see him in the starting rotation over Kevin Pillar, which is why I'm talking about him. For your projected starters, this is where the Red Sox really, really tank. They have a pretty solid offensive squad, but the Erod though is your one shining star in this lineup. He's young and he's been doing nothing but improving since he's come up to the league. He had a pretty good rookie season and a rough sophomore, and then the last three seasons, consistently improving his stats. He won 19 games, threw 200 innings, stayed healthy for the full season, had 200 strikeouts. Um, Struggles a little bit with control, but overall, like, has been improved. Just he's homegrown talent, and every rotation I think wants having one guy as homegrown talent. I don't think he's at the ace level yet, but I think he can develop into one because he's been showing such consistent improvement. Um, but being in that one spot as the ace is definitely going to be a little bit. It'll definitely affect his win total. The win total means nothing anyway, so it doesn't matter. But he's got big shoes to step in for Chris Sale. Uh, as your projected second starter, I'm sorry to say, it's Nathan Eovaldi. 2018, 381. Like, the guy cannot stay healthy for the life of him. He did not stay healthy last year. There was a rumor that he was going to go to the Yankees, and I was kind of like, oh, well, kind of a little bit annoyed when he didn't go to the Yankees, but I'm kind of glad he didn't. 2-1, 67 innings pitched, a 5.9 ERA. Definitely not what you want to see out of a guy who you just signed a 3-year contract extension. So you have 2 more years of them. So he will be in this rotation for 2 more years. So hopefully he gets some semblance of his 2018 form and just postseason form, because that form would be just average. You want that. You need a guy who can be consistent, and so hopefully he can show that consistency he used to have. Um, Next up, you got Martin Perez. Yeah, not too hot. He had a really rough year last year in Texas with a 5.12 ERA. He played the whole year, but definitely struggled with control, struggled with striking out guys. Um, Walked a whole bunch for the strikeout rate. It's definitely way too many to walk. Had a 1.5 WHIP, which is overall an improvement from his 2018 where he had a 6.2 ERA and a 1.7 WHIP. But not ideal numbers. I actually wonder how he'd profile that as a reliever because he's got one of the better cutters in the league. The problem is he just doesn't seem to have good enough stuff to be a consistent uh, starter. So I'm not, already at the 3 hole and your pitching staff is rough. Oh, you got Ryan Weber. Had a rough year out of the bullpen with a 5.09 ERA, and he's never played a full season, and he's never pitched out of for a start. He's never had a start. Um, so Actually, no, he hasn't had a start since 2015, I should say. So, yeah, you can see my apprehensions about this team. And then you have Brian Johnson. He's got a really nice curveball, and he shows the occasional glimpse of having some decent stuff. But yeah, 26.02 ERA, got rocked last year, and big thing for him, injuries. He never stays healthy. So hopefully the short stretch will help him and like Nathan Evaldi, and hopefully you get some decent form out of them. But like this lineup, this rotation on paper is awful. Um, Going into the bullpen, it's the Brandon Workman and Matt Barnes show. Matt Barnes, had a 3.7 ERA last year, but he also, they put him in a lot of situations with big situations. And he for the most part he performed. He performs pretty consistently well. He's not super hard lockdown guy, but he's got good stuff, and he can pitch pretty decently. So not a bad guy to have in your bullpen. Your closer, though, Brandon Workman had a breakout year last year. I said you had one shining star. That is Brandon Workman. He had a 1.8 ERA, 71 innings pitched, 16 converted saves, 104 strikeouts in 71 innings. Because he's got this knuckle curve that it seems like it's almost impossible for anyone to hit. But then the rest is ugly. You got Josh Taylor, who actually had a pretty decent showing in 47 innings last year, the 3.04 ERA. But that's once again where that was his first season. The rest is where it gets kind of worse. Yeah, Marcus Walden, who had a rough, he pitched a lot of innings last year, and so with a 3.80 ERA, it's okay. But in a in a in a division with the two best bullpens in the league, definitely not enough to compete. Heath Hembry, despite being injured last year, did have a 3.86 ERA, but leaning towards the not so good. And then you have Ryan Brazier, who 4.85, Darwinson Hernandez, who didn't really have a whole bunch of opportunity. Only pitched 30 innings, but a 4.4 ERA. It's like it's a lot of stuff that's just not good. You had Colton Brewer and Austin Bryce, guys who are just not like you hear them, you're like, who are they? Now, it's just not. It's not good. You have Brandon Workman and Matt Barnes, and that the rest are all question marks. It's not looking pretty. Now, one thing I will say though is you do have Colin McHugh, um, who is recovering from surgery, and so if he shows up healthy and performs well, so maybe he will be ready for the start of the season, and if he does, then you can use him, and he's shown some pretty good stuff. In 2018, just he played 58 games and had a 1.9 ERA, um, and has shown glimpses, and he's also pitched as a starter, so maybe you can get starting numbers out of him, or maybe you can put him in the bullpen, like it's rejected. So you have some options there, but like I said, it's not pretty. Going to the focuses anyway. Up first, we have Rafi Devers. He is, him and Xander Bogaerts are going to be the two leaders of this team. Um, they are the most talented players on this team. If his defense doesn't improve, you might see him move to first base, but he's got the makings of a really special player, and he's young, and he shows a lot for his. He's already showing a lot at his young age. So definitely exciting one to watch. Next, Xander Bogaerts. He is this team's leader now that Mookie Betts is gone. Um, like I said, one of the best shortstops in the league. Um, everything you get, every play you get to watch him make is something special. So enjoy him for the next 5 to 6 years you have him, because you got him locked down. So good on the Red Sox to get that done. Going next, Eduardo Rodriguez, your homegrown starter. Definitely, um, if you had to choose a Red Sox to watch, if you're a casual Red Sox fan and you're wondering what best days to watch are, it'll be Eduardo Rodriguez starts. He's pretty consistent. Not He's like, and this season in the short sprint, maybe he could show something really, really special and dominant, which you have to wait and see. Next, last but not least, Brandon Workman. He turned himself into an elite reliever last year, and so maybe this season will show, can he perform at that level again? And so this will be a big proving season for him. And if he can continue to show that form, he'll be a big help in the Boston win column, because otherwise it's going to be pretty rough riding for Boston this season. So let's go to the grades. So lineup. The lineup is still has a lot of the same pieces: Benintendi, Devers, Bogarts, Martinez, like guys who can consistently perform. You got some shaky performances out of Chavis and Bradley and Pilar, but I think overall the lineup is still really good, and so I'm going to give the lineup a B plus. It's got a lot of good stuff. Some areas for improve, some really really big areas needed for improvement, but overall pretty good lineup. Um, and bullpen, nah, I can't say it's the worst bullpen. It's definitely better than the Baltimore Orioles, and definitely better than the Blue Jays bullpen. But that's not a high bar to go over. Um, so I'm gonna say C minus. It's okay at at best in its best spots, with the exception of course being Brandon Workman. Rotation, that's a fat D plus. I'll give it, because Eduardo Rodriguez is good, but the rest of that rotation is a mess, and you know, at best could perform to league average, hopefully. And when you're hoping for four guys out of rotation to hopefully perform league average when they haven't been performing that way in a while, that's a recipe for a really horrible rotation. So, because of the short season, if they get off to a start like they did last year, then this team will, like, it has a chance of genuinely being worse than the Blue Jays. But the Red Sox could very well. That's the thing. That's like the hard part of predicting a short season, because in a 162 game season, it's a lot easier to predict how a team can do, because baseball's a game of peaks and valleys. The Mariners got off to an 11-1 start and then didn't come even close to. They were the last team in the AL West, and so I'm not going to count them entirely out if the bullpen and rotation can perform better than what they're projected. I can't grade them off of what they have the potential to do. I can only, I guess I kind of am, but like I can only grade their potential so much. I have to grade them off what they're likely to do, and what they're likely to do is just have a rough season and hover around 500. And I think that's going to be about what you expect for the Red Sox, barring something, barring a long hot streak and a bunch of people overperforming. So yeah, that's it for the Red Sox for me. Um, Obviously you can take what I say with a grain of salt as a Yankee fan, but I really did try to be pretty fair with them, and because at the end of the day, the Red Sox, you're in a shit spot right now, because your farm is depleted and the pitching's a nightmare. But at the end of the day, you know, your front office you have some pretty ugly contracts, but you got your front office traded away, though it traded away its farm system, you got a World Series out of it. I would trade, if I could get, if I think most fans would say, okay, we'll have our World Series year, then have a couple of rough years. I think almost every fan base would say, oh, sure, absolutely. So, name of the game for Boston this season is, just see who performs well, see what pieces you can trade, see what you can do. Because at the end of the day, you need to replenish that farm system. It is in desperate need of replenishing, and so you're going to see a lot of project pieces like the Martin Perez and Nathan Eovaldi and oh God, I can't even, Ryan Weber, trying out his starting chops. So Yeah, that's all I have to say about them. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you are a diehard Red Sox fan and you think I'm giving them these grades because I am a biased Yankee fan. One of those statements is right. I'm a biased Yankee fan, but I think genuinely this is how I feel about the team. Once again, but if you have like a genuine reason why you think this team is better or worse, and honestly, I think the lineup argument could be made. They have an A minus lineup, but overall, I feel like I'm pretty confident in these grades. But if you have like genuine, you want to come talk, come join our Discord and come talk, because I will 100% be down for that. Um, but yeah, so that's about it for me today. Tomorrow we go to. Hold on, I know this one. Hold on.
Oh, is he gonna
Hold on,
remember?
hold
How
on,
good is
hold
his
on. No,
memory?
no, no. Hold on.
All right.
We okay. We did Minnesota. Now we just did Boston. Oh shit. We're going to um fuck.
Drum roll,
Hold on.
please.
Hold on. Oh god.
Doo, doo, doo,
Shit, it's another pretty
doo,
decent team. That's
doo,
why you're
doo.
pretty looking forward to this week, and I can't remember.
It's the New Orleans Saints and Drew
Oh, the
Brees.
Saints, right, Drew Brees. I knew it was a team I liked too.
Yeah, I mean, I give you, you tried it. I respect it. I respect the grind.
Gotta do what I can.
Um, but yes, so come back tomorrow to check out the New Orleans Saints draft grade video. Um, but other than that, if you've hit all your bases,
I have.
then that will be it for us today, and we will see you tomorrow. Peace.